Hello. It's post-workout pre-shower Paradise Lost time tonight, apparently. But I had the feeling if I didn't do it now, I might skip, and I don't want that to happen. So we're going to pick up in book 4, the last third of it, and finish, hopefully strong, the work that we started 2 days ago. If you remember, we left off with Adam and Eve having the well, I don't know if it's weird. I was going to say the weirdest, like, pre-sleep conversation, but I don't know. When I'm falling asleep, I wonder about weird things too, I guess. So Eve gets the best lines, of course, almost always. And instead of thinking about why people sleep, asks about things like astronomy and the universe, the way things work. So, at any rate, we're seeing this through the eyes of Satan still, who is recommitted or committed again, which feels like two different things right now, to his previously established goal of corrupting humanity and taking over Earth, ultimately. So let's see. Today's lines are 689 through 1015. Right, and today is April 10th. It's a Friday. I think like day 33-ish of the pandemic. No school today, so I'm just gonna jump right in. The slurping noise you hear is June having dinner. Hopefully she'll finish quickly. All right. Thus talking, hand in hand, alone they passed onto their blissful bower. It was a place chosen by the sovereign planter when he framed all things to man's delightful use. The roof of thickest covert was inwoven shade laurel and myrtle, and what higher grew of firm and fragrant leaf. On either side, acanthus, and each odorous bushy shrub fenced up the verdant wall. Each beauteous flower, iris all hues, roses and jessamine, reared high their flourished heads between, and wrought mosaic. Underfoot, the violet, crocus, and hyacinth, with rich inlay, broidered the ground, more colored than with stone of costliest emblem. Other creature here, beast, bird, insect, or worm, dost enter none. Such was their awe of man. In shadier bower, more sacred and sequestered, though but feigned, Pan or Sylvanus never slept, nor nymph nor faunus haunted. Here, in close recess, with flowers, garlands, and sweet-smelling herbs, espoused Eve decked first her nuptial bed, and heavenly choirs the Hymenean sung. What day the genial angel to our sire brought her in naked beauty more adorned, more lovely than Pandora, whom the gods endowed with all their gifts. And too, like in sad event, when to the unwiser son of Japhet brought by Hermes, she ensnared mankind with her fair looks, to be avenged on him who had stole Jove's authentic fire. Thus at their shady lodge arrived, both stood, both turned, and under open sky adored the God that made both sky, air, earth, and heaven, which they beheld, the moon's resplendent globe and starry pole. Thou also madest the night, Maker omnipotent, and thou the day, which we in our appointed work employed have finished happily in our mutual help and mutual love. The crown of all our bliss ordained by thee, and this delicious place for us too large, where thy abundance once partakers, and uncropped falls to the ground. But thou hast promised from us to a race to fill the earth. Who shall with us extol thy goodness infinite, both when we wake and when we seek, as now, thy gift of sleep? This said, unanimous, and other rites observing none, but adoration pure, which God likes best, into their inmost bower handed they went, and eased the putting off these troublesome disguises which we wear, straight side by side were laid, nor turned I ween Adam from his fair spouse, nor Eve the rites mysterious of connubial love refused. Whatever hypocrites austerely talk of purity and place and innocence, defaming as impure what God declares pure, and commands to some, leaves free to all. Our Maker bids increase. Who bids abstain but our destroyer, foe to God and man? Hailed, wedded love, mysterious law, true source of human offspring, sole propriety and paradise of all things common else. By thee, adulterous lust was driven from men among the bestial herds to range. By thee founded in reason, loyal, just, and pure, relations dear, and all the charities of father, son, and brother first were known. Far be it that I should write thee sin or blame, or think thee unbefitting holiest place, perpetual fountain of domestic sweets, whose bed is undefiled and chaste pronounced, present or past, as saints and patriarchs used. Here love his golden shafts employs, here lights his constant lamp, and waves his purple wings, reigns here and revels. Not in the bought smile of harlots, loveless, joyless, unendeared, casual fruition, nor in court amours, mixed dance, or wanton mask, or midnight ball, or serenade, which the starved lover sings to his proud fair, best quitted with disdain. These, lulled by nightingales, embracing, slept, and on their naked limbs the flowery roof showered roses, which the morn repaired. Sleep on, blessed pair, and O yet happiest if ye seek no happier state, and know to know no more. Now had night measured with her shadowy cone halfway uphill this vast sublunar vault, and from their ivory port the cherubim, forth issuing at the accustomed hour, stood armed to their night watches in warlike parade, when Gabriel, to his next in power, thus spoke. Uriel, half these draw off, and coast the south with strictest watch. These other wheel the north, our circuit meets full west. As flame they part, half wheeling to the shield, half to the spear. From these, two strong and subtle spirits, he called that near him stood, and gave them thus in charge. Uriel and Zephon, with winged speed, search through this garden. Leave unsearched no nook, but chiefly where those two fair creatures lodge, now laid perhaps asleep, secure of harm. This evening from the sun's decline arrived, who tells of some infernal spirit seen hitherward bent, who could have thought? Escaped the bars of hell, on errand bad, no doubt. Say such where ye find, seize fast, and hither bring. So saying, on he led his radiant files, dazzling the moon. These to the bower direct, in search of whom they sought. Him there they found, squat like a toad, close at the ear of Eve, essaying, by his devilish art, to reach the organs of her fancy, and with them forge illusions as he list, phantasms and dreams. Or if, inspiring venom, he might taint the animal spirits that from pure blood arise like gentle breaths from rivers pure, thence raise at least distempered, discontented thoughts, vain hopes, vain aims, inordinate desires, blown up with high conceits, engendering pride. Him thus intent, Uriel with his spear touched lightly, for no falsehood can endure touch of celestial temper, but returns of force to its own likeness. Up he starts, discovered and surprised, as when a spark lights on a heap of nitrous powder, laid fit for the ton some magazine to store against a rumored war, the smutty grain with sudden blaze diffused inflames the air. So started up in his own shape the fiend. Back stepped those two fair angels, half amazed, so sudden to behold the grisly king. Yet thus, unmoved with fear, accost him soon. Which of those rebel spirits adjudged to hell comest thou, escaped thy prison, and transformed, why sattest thou like an enemy in wait, here watching at the head of those that sleep? Know ye not then, said Satan, filled with scorn, know ye not me? Ye knew me once, no mate for you, there sitting where you durst not soar. Not to know me argue, yourselves unknown, the lowest of your throng. Or if ye knew, why ask ye, and superfluous begin your message, like to end as much in vain? To whom thus Zephon, answering scorn with scorn, think not, revolted spirit, thy shape the same, or undiminished brightness, to be known as when thou stoodst in heaven upright and pure. That glory then, when thou no more wast good, departed from thee, and thou resemblest now thy sin and place of doom obscure and foul. But come, for thou, be sure, shalt give account to him who sent us, whose charge is to keep this place inviolable, and these from harm. So spake the cherub, and his grave rebuke, severe and youthful beauty, added grace invincible. Abashed the devil stood, and felt how awful goodness is, and saw virtue in her shape how lovely, saw and pined his loss. But chiefly to find here observed his luster visibly impaired, yet seemed undaunted. If I must contend, said he, best with the best, the sender, not the sent, or all at once. More glory will be won, or less be lost. Thy fear, said Zephon bold, will save us trial, what the least can do single against thee wicked, and thence weak. The fiend replied not, overcome with rage, but like a proud steed reined went haughty on, champing his iron curb. To strive or fly he held it vain. All from above had quelled his heart, naught else dismayed. Now drew they nigh the western point, where those half-rounding guards just met, and closing stood in squadron joined, awaiting next command, to whom their chief, Gabriel, from the front thus called aloud. O friends, I hear the tread of nimble feet hasting this way, and now by glimpse discern Uriel and Zephon through the shade, and with them comes a third of regal port, but faded splendor wan, who by his gait and fierce demeanor seems the prince of hell, not likely to part hence without contest. Stand firm, for in his look defiance lowers. He scarce had ended, when those two approached and brief related whom they brought, where found, how busied, in what form and posture couched. To whom with stern regard thus Gabriel spake. Why hast thou, Satan, broke the bounds prescribed to thy transgressions, and disturbed the charge of others, who approve not to transgress by thy example, but have power and right to question thy bold entrance on this place? Employed, it seems, to violate sleep, and those dwelling God hath planted here in bliss. To whom thus Satan, with contemptuous brow, Gabriel, thou hadst in heaven the esteem of wise, and such I held thee. But this question asked puts me in doubt. Lives there who loves his pain? Who would not, finding way, break loose from hell, though thither doomed? Thou wouldst thyself, no doubt, and boldly venture to whatever place farthest from pain, where thou mightst hope to change torment with ease, and soonest recompense dull with delight, which in this place I sought, to thee no reason, who knowest only good, but evil hast not tried, and wilt object his will who bound us. Let him surer bar his iron gates if he intends our stay in that dark durance. Thus much what was asked. The rest is true. They found me where they say, but that implies not violence or harm. Thus he in scorn. The warlike angel moved, disdainfully half smiling, thus replied, O loss of one in heaven to judge of wise, since Satan fell, whom folly overthrew, and now returns him from his prison scaped, gravely in doubt whether to hold them wise or not, who ask what boldness brought him hither, unlicensed from his bounds in hell prescribed. So wise he judges it to fly from pain, however, and to escape his punishment. So judge thou still, presumptuous, till the wrath which thou incurrest by flying meet thy flight sevenfold, and scourge that wisdom back to hell, which taught thee yet no better, that no pain can equal anger infinite provoked. But wherefore thou alone? Wherefore with thee came not all hell broke loose? Is pain to them less pain, less to be fled, or thou than they less hardy to endure? Courageous chief, the first in flight from pain, hadst thou alleged to thy deserted host this cause of flight? Thou surely hadst not come sole fugitive. To which the fiend thus answered, frowning, stern, not that I less endure or shrink from pain, insulting angel. Well thou knowest I stood thy fiercest, when in battle to thy aid the blasting volley thunder made all speed, and seconded thy else not dreaded spear. But still thy words at random as before. Argue thy inexperience what behooves from hard essays and ill successes past a faithful leader, not to hazard all through ways of danger by himself untried. I therefore, I alone first undertook to wing the desolate abyss and spy this new created world, whereof in hell fame is not silent, here in hope to find better abode, and my afflicted powers to settle here on earth, or in mid-air. Though for possession put to try once more what thou and thy gay legions dare against, whose easier business here were to serve their Lord high up in heaven, with songs to him his throne, and practiced distances to cringe, not fight. To whom the warrior angel soon replied, to say and straight unsay, pretending first, wise to fly pain, professing next to spy, argues no leader, but a liar traced, Satan. And couldst thou faithful add? O name, O sacred name of faithfulness profaned. Faithful to whom? To thy rebellious crew, army of fiends, fit bodies of fit head. Was this your discipline and faith engaged, your military obedience, to dissolve allegiance to the acknowledged power supreme? And thou, sly hypocrite, who now would seem patron of liberty, who more than thou once fawned and cringed and servilely adored his heaven's awful monarch? Wherefore, but in hope to dispossess him and thyself to reign? But mark, what I read thee now, avaunt. Fly thither whence thou fleddest. If from this hour within these hallowed limits thou appear back to the infernal pit, I drag thee chained, and seal thee so, as henceforth not to scorn the facile gates of hell too slightly barred. So threatened he, but Satan to no threats gave heed, but waxing more enraged replied, then when I am thy captive talk of change, proud limitary cherub, but ere then far heavier load thyself expect to feel from my prevailing arm, though heaven's king ride on thy wings, and thou with thy compeers, used to the yoke, drawest his triumphant wheels in progress through the road of heaven's star paved. While thus he spake, the angelic squadron bright turned fiery red, sharpening in mooned horns their phalanx, and began to hem him round with corded spears as thick as when a field of Ceres ripe for harvest waving bends her bearded grove of ears, which way the wind sways them. The careful plowman, doubting, stands less on the threshing floor, his hopeful sheaves prove chaff. On the other side, Satan, armed, collecting all his might, dilated stood, like Tenerife or Atlas unremoved. His stature reached the sky, and on his crest sat horror plumed, nor wanting in his grasp what seemed both spear and shield. Now dreadful deeds might have ensued, nor only paradise in this commotion, but the starry cope of heaven perhaps, where all the elements at least had gone to rack, undisturbed and torn with violence of this conflict, had not soon the Eternal to prevent such horrid fray hung forth in heaven his golden scales, yet seen betwixt Astrea and the scorpion sign, wherein all things created first he weighed, the pendulous round earth with balanced air to counterpoise, now ponders all events, battles, and realms. In these he put two weights, the sequel each of parting and of fight. The latter quick up flew, and kicked the beam, which Gabriel spying, thus bespake the fiend. Satan, I know thy strength, and thou knowest mine, neither our own but given. What folly then to boast what arms can do, since thine no more than heaven permits, nor mine, though doubled now, to trample thee as mire. For proof, look up, and read thy lot in yon celestial sign, where thou art weighed and shown how light, how weak, if thou resist. The fiend looked up, and knew his mounted scale aloft, nor more, but fled murmuring, and with him fled the shades of night.